This manga is about a cheeky girl who has two massive personalities, and a boy who is straight as an arrow falling in love under very peculiar circumstances. Our main girl likes to tease the MC on a daily basis, and unlike the protagonists of other shows, Senpai Kuin from Nagatoro, our guy is a virgin Chad, who takes a stand for himself when he is disrespected. The manga begins with our protagonist Kotaro, picking up trash from the ground. Meanwhile, two faceless background characters are having an age-old cultural conversation about their preferences. What's better, cake or cherries? Me personally, I'm more into those sweaty feet. Sorry, I went off topic. Anyways, a girl sees our boy from the window doing Lord's work and shouts his name. He looks up to see who it is, but before he could register the situation in his mind, he sees a girl with her bakery buns jumping from the window. She ends up falling onto his ribs, and luckily, for the sake of plot, he is still alive. Meet the main girl of the manga, Sarako Mozu. With a cheeky smile on her face, she thanks Kotaro Kuin for being a splendid cushion. But he tells her to get off of him right now, before he lifts her with his third leg.
Huh?
But she asks him if he is sure about that, because a girl is sitting on top of him right now. Then she directly addresses the viewers of this channel, reminding that for unattractive virgins like you, something like this is pretty hard to come by. MC can't take the disrespect anymore, and tells her to stop looking down on him, which gives Sarako more ammunition for teasing him. While these two are arguing, a few students are looking at them from the school window, and it turns out at this point, it has become a part of their daily routine. Being a proud member of the school's public moral committee, whatever that is, he tells her that jumping out of the windows is against the rules. Also, she is not wearing her uniform properly, and since she won't fix it, MC says he would fix it himself. Hearing those words, she grins like a dommy mommy, and dares him to do what he just said. She doubles down on her words, and starts marching towards him with her huge milk cannon saying, "Fix the part that concerns you." Realizing this isn't the right time and place, as they are standing on the holy ground of school, he tells her to show some respect for herself. Sarako once again belittles the MC, and indirectly talks to the viewers of this channel saying, "Seeing your virginity on full display is so cute." Kotaro gives up for now, and tells her to go home, and she actually leaves, but not before calling him a wimp. Remember these two guys? They are still here watching the plot unfold, just like you and me. Despite their opposite personalities, there is a rumor going around that free-spirited Sarako and the serious Kuin Kotaro are secretly dating each other. But they both dismiss it, as they are polar opposites of each other. After he is done with school, Kotaro goes straight back home. But when he opens the door, he sees Sarako with her two mega minds on full display. This isn't his fault, but he ends up getting stomped anyways. Unless you guys have negative IQ from watching all the internet brain rot, you must have figured out their situation by now. These two are getting married, so the four of them are living under the same roof. And yes, I'm counting those two huge round things as separate entities, because each of them has a gravitational pull of their own. Since they are living together, you expect them to have a sweet and wholesome relationship, but in reality, their relationship is anything but sweet. Sarako exclaims that they wouldn't have been in this situation in the first place if her father didn't buy their small factory. It turns out Kotaro's father owned a small metal sheet factory, which was going bankrupt, that is until Sarako's father bought it and saved them. Otherwise, they would have been making manga recap videos like this. Snapping back to reality, she reminds him of his low status in society and demands an apology from him. Thinking of his father and their small factory, he has no choice except meeting her demand. So he bows down in typical Japanese style and apologizes for his mistake that he didn't even make. Seeing Kotaro being so submissive does something to Sarako, and she goes full on mommy mode. Putting her foot on his head, like a true dommy mommy, she talks down to him, reminding him that they are not even equals, and her family practically owns his family, so there is no way he could defy her. From her point of view, he is nothing more than a servant to her. Using her twin airbags as a mean of support, she tells him that even the idea of her marrying him sounds uber gross. At this point, Sarako was in total domination mode, and it looked like this manga was about to turn into a hentai. But luckily, our boy is a G, who can't be dominated so easily. So he grabs her feet, and flips the script on her saying, "If you call me your servant, then let me do my job and serve you." This shocks her, as she can feel the dark aura of a hentai protagonist surrounding Kotaro. He starts massaging her feet aggressively, and the kinetic energy of his foot massage causes uncontrollable bouncing of the jiggly puffs on her chest. Which I can't show you guys because YouTube-chan will isekai me into the shadows. Seeing how she is reacting to the massage, our boy ups the intensity. The next few panels of this manga look straight out of a doujin, as she begs the MC to stop. But when he doesn't, she apologizes to him while making a face that turned my eel into a whale. A few hours pass by, and we can see that she is still feeling the effects of Kotaro's foot massage technique. Meanwhile, he is standing in a corner wondering if he should consider this as a W for himself. But then she gets up and starts walking towards his bedroom while telling him to remember what he has done today. While lying on the floor, he imagines if they ever got married, things can't go on like this. So in order to prevent Sorako from pushing him around, he needs to be more aggressive from now on. Meanwhile, in the other room, our main girl was blushing as she didn't expected Kotaro to assert his dominance on her like that. And as this day comes to an end, she vows that she won't lose to him anymore. The next morning, Kotaro receives a phone call from his dad. He asks him how he is doing and if the factory is doing okay. Looking back, it's been already a week since he moved out of his house. Suddenly, someone throws dirty laundry onto his face. It's Sorako, and with a cheeky smile on her face, she calls him her servant and tells him to do her dirty laundry right now. Left with no choice, he sniffs her clothes behind the scenes and then puts them in the washing machine. After doing the laundry and making breakfast, he asks Sorako to at least clean the bathtub. But she gives him a hard pass, saying her hands are full at the moment, as she plays Black Myth Wukong on her laptop. Realizing that she won't do any chores, he takes the L and continues his miserable life in this house. After doing all the housework, he takes a hot bath in the bathtub that he cleaned and exclaims how good it feels. While but naked, he starts to ponder on how he should go about asserting his dominance on Sorako, as she always finds a way to push back. Because if things went on like this, Kotaro's family will end up homeless and then, he would have to become a manga recap YouTuber like me. His train of thoughts gets wrecked when he sees Sorako in the bathroom with nothing but a towel covering her massive melons. He turns around saying, "I'm still here, you know." But she says, it's not her problem. Maybe she is watching too much Attack on Titan lately, as she goes on about her freedom rant, just like Eren Yeager, and tells him that she can't be bothered to keep track of his schedule. But obviously, she is just there to tease the poor guy. He promises not to look back, because otherwise she will ask her father to call off their engagement. At this point, Kotaro's anxiety levels are through the roof, and he wonders if she is really going to sit behind him in the bathtub. Who knows, he might be able to feel those milk jugs of hers. But instead, she puts a towel on his head so he can't see anything. She then wets his hair, and Kotaro wonders if she is doing all this on purpose. But with a cheeky look on her face, she simply smiles. She then secretly uses the shampoo attack and leathers up his head. Kotaro tries his level best to contain himself, but he just can't take it anymore. While all this is going on, Sorako tries to break him and says, there is no need to hold back. But then he hears some weird clapping sounds in the bathroom. She then asks him, what sound do you think that is? That's right, this is the sound of her milk packs slapping against each other.
NANI?
Since Kotaro is a man of culture, just like us, curiosity gets the better of him, and he looks at the reflection in the bathroom mirror. That's when he realizes that Sorako was tricking him, as she wore a swimsuit this entire time. So he turns around and confronts her, but what he didn't realize was that he fell right into her trap. She then teases him for his words about not looking back. How gross, says Sorako. She puts her milk cannons in front of him, gets closer and mockingly says, do you understand your place now? All the while, Kotaro is trying his best not to fold in a situation like this. After the shower, she tells our boy that seeing him flustered and panicked like that was quite amusing, so she will give him a break this time. She then calls him a wimp. Meanwhile, Kotaro takes the L and apologizes to his father for being a weakling. The following day, she greets her friends as she arrives to the school. As she walks down the school hallway with her friend, Kotaro shows up out of nowhere to fulfill his duty of morning uniform check. Sorako's friend seems annoyed and wants to avoid him at all cost, but the girl with big melons interrupts him and starts calling him a loner, over and over again. Earlier this morning, Kotaro made lunch for the two of them using yesterday's leftovers. And once again, she teases him saying, is this your way of saying that you want us to eat together? But he denies her allegation, and tells her that he always eats alone in the Public Morals Committee room. In other words, he is a loner. She then painfully reminds him of the fact that he doesn't have any friends, and he isn't a Sigma male. During the school break, Kotaro is eating in the Public Moral Committee room as usual. His lunch is oishi, but for some reason, he feels lonely. Maybe it's because he is getting used to hearing Sorako's constant chatter during their dinner at home. Out of nowhere, Sorako enters the room and cheerfully greets him. Curious, he asks her what she is doing here. To which she says, I thought I would feed you personally.
It's pretty difficult to put into words how disgusted I am, how depressed I am.
Kotaro can't believe what he is hearing and asks if she has an ulterior motive. But according to her, he is doing an excellent job as a servant lately, so she thought of showing him some well-deserved appreciation. Surprisingly, Sorako is actually feeding him this time. Kotaro is doubtful at first, but then accepts her kind gesture. Before taking a bite, he suddenly closes his mouth. Sorako seems nervous and asks, "What's wrong, senpai?" Kotaro realizes that she was avoiding the bell peppers and was tricking him into eating them. At first she denies it, but then shows her true colors and starts shoving it in his face. Seeing how her cover is blown, she accepts her disdain for bell peppers and tells him to dispose of them by shoving them down his throat. To restrict his mobility, she puts her bakery buns on his lap and starts force-feeding him. Kotaro's inner Sigma male wakes up, and he holds her hand. This makes her flustered and she asks, "What are you doing?" Like a G, he looks deep into her eyes and tells her that he put those bell peppers in because he was thinking about her health. Sorako gets embarrassed and starts calling him gross. Seizing the opportunity, he grabs her hand and shoves the bell pepper into her mouth. She takes a moment to process what just happened, but upon realizing that she just ate a bell pepper, she starts saying, "No, not November." What a strange thing to say in this situation. With the help of nearby fruit juice, she finally gulps it down her throat. Upon her coughing, Kotaro asks if she is alright, but with a hentai look on her face, she utters the words, "It's so bitter. I swear this is a rom-com manga, you guys." Outside the office, Sorako's friend was waiting for her, but when she goes to open the door, she unintentionally ends up hearing their freaky conversation. At first, she thinks that maybe she misheard them, but when she listens closely, Sorako ends up saying the wrong thing at the wrong time. Shocked by what she just heard, her imagination starts running wild and she wonders what kind of relationship these two have with each other. Later that day, Sorako sees Kotaro carrying a bunch of boxes and asks if he is being bullied. With a condescending tone she says, "How pitiful." But Kotaro tells her not to disturb him when he is doing his daily grind as a disciplinary committee member. Seeing how hard he is working inside and outside non-stop, she compares him to a dog. As Sorako is talking trash to our boy, we can see a girl walking towards them from a distance. Upon reaching them, she thanks Kotaro for helping her out and apologizes to him for taking his time when he is so busy. Her name is Iori, and she is the chairman of disciplinary committee. She pats him on the arm and tells him to stop calling her senpai as they are the same age. Meanwhile, Sorako looks at her arm like she is about to feast on that thing. Iori then asks Kotaro to give him half of the boxes as a thank you, while Sorako quietly listens to them. As they are walking in the school hall while carrying the boxes, Sorako gets in jealous girlfriend mode, as now Iori has also entered the chat. After finishing their work, Iori once again apologizes for making him carry all those boxes. While she asks him if everything is alright in his family, Kotaro says everything is fine while he receives a text from Sorako on his phone which says, "Where are you?" She then says, "Goodbye," and leaves, while Kotaro exclaims that she is always so friendly. Late at night, he reaches home and apologizes to Sorako for running late, but then he sees her lying on a sofa while wearing lingerie. She then seductively says, "Welcome back, senpai." Kotaro can't believe what his eyes are seeing and wonders if she is the same Sorako he met in the school. He asks if she ate anything, because you are not you when you are hungry. Nope, she didn't eat anything. He tries to avoid the situation and tells her that he is going to cook something light for her. But then Sorako makes him an offer that he couldn't refuse. He lies down on the sofa and remembers what happened last time when he gave her a massage. With a devilish grin on her face, she tells him that if he cries out loud, he will lose. Sorako then starts riding on his back and says, "It's easier to hit the pressure point this way, right?" It hurts so much, but Kotaro can't complain because like David Goggins, he needs to stay hard. Meanwhile, Sorako goes full Dami mommy mode and tells him it's not over yet. She then complains that he prioritizes his work over her, and now there is a girl too. Furthermore, he is now coming home late as well. She finally gives him an ultimatum and asks, "What's more important, your work or me?" Kotaro asks if she is jealous, and in a tender moment, she says yes. But she quickly goes back on her words and denies anything like that. She then screams, "I'm not jealous at all," and starts running towards her room. Kotaro exclaims that sometimes, Sorako can get jealous. Also, he has no idea what just happened, but it looks like he got a W in the bag.